Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here to introduce Colombia's program, Suspense. Tonight, as we premiere our new Saturday evening series from the air, Miss Agnes Moorhead returns to her stage to appear in The Study in Terror by Lucille Fletcher Code. Sorry, wrong number. The story of a woman who accidentally overheard a conversation with death who strove frantically to prevent murder from claiming an innocent victim is being repeated by popular request. Tonight's tale of suspense. If you've been with us before, you will know that suspense is compounded by mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series, our tales calculated to intrigue you, to steer your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so it is with the story. Sorry, wrong number. And the performance of Miss Agnes Moorhead, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
Oh dear.
You call, please.
Operator, I've been dialing Murray Hill 70092 now for the last 3/4 of an hour, and the line is always busy. I don't see how it could be busy that long. Will you try it for me, please?
I will be glad to try that number for you. One moment, please.
I don't see how it could be busy all this time. It's my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I'm all alone here in the house. My health is very poor, and I've been feeling so nervous all day.
Ringing Murray Hills 70093.
Hello? Hello? Is Mr. Stevenson there?
Hello, George.
Yes, sir. This is George speaking.
Hello? Who's this? What number am I calling, please?
I'm here with our client.
Oh, good. Is everything okay? Is the coast clear for tonight?
Yeah, George. He said the coast is clear for tonight.
Okay.
Where are you now?
In a phone booth. Don't worry. Everything's okay.
Very well. You know the address?
Yeah, I know. At 11 o'clock, the private patrolman goes around to the bar on 2nd Avenue for a beer.
That's right. At 11 o'clock.
I will make sure that all the lights downstairs are out.
There should be only one light visible from the street.
Yeah, I know. At 11:15, a train crosses the bridge. It makes a noise in case their windows open and she should scream.
Oh! Hello? What number is this, please?
Okay, I understand. I tell you. That's 11:15, the train.
Yeah. You remember everything else, George?
Yeah, I make it quick. As little blood as possible. Because our client is not used to make her suffer long.
That's right. You'll use a knife.
Yes, a knife will be okay. And afterwards, I remove the rings and the bracelets and jewelry in the bureau drawer because our client wishes it to look like simple robbery. Don't worry, everything's okay. Never mind.
Oh, how awful, how unspeakably awful.
You call, please.
Operator, I've just been cut off.
I'm sorry. What number were you calling?
Why? It was supposed to be Murray Hill 70093, but it wasn't. Some wires must have crossed. I was cut into a wrong number, and I've just heard the most dreadful thing. Something about a murder, and operator, you simply have to retrace that call at once.
I beg your pardon. May I help you?
Oh, I know it was the wrong number, and I had no business listening, but these two men, they were cold-blooded fiends. and they were going to murder somebody, some poor innocent woman who was all alone in a house near a bridge, and we've got to stop them. We've got
What
to...
number were you calling, please?
Well, that doesn't matter. This was a wrong number, and you dialed it for me, and we've got to find out what it was immediately.
What number did you call?
Oh, why are you so stupid? What time is it? Do you mean to tell me you can't find out what that number was just now?
I will connect you with the chip operator.
Oh, I think it's perfectly shameful. Now, look, it was obviously a case of some little slip of the finger. I told you to try Murray Hill 7093 for me. You dialed it, but your finger must have slipped, and I was connected with some other number, and I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me. Now, I simply fail to see why you couldn't make that same mistake again on purpose. Why you couldn't try to dial Murray Hill 7093 in the same sort of careless way?
Murray Hill 70093?
Yes!
I will try to get F for you.
Well, thank you.
I'm sorry. Murray Hill 70093 is busy. I'll call you in 20 minutes.
Operator!
Your call, please.
You didn't try to get that wrong number at all. I asked you explicitly, and all you did was dial correctly.
I'm sorry, what number are you calling?
Well, can't you, for once, forget what number I'm calling and do something for me? Now, I want to trace that call. It's my civic duty, and it's your civic duty to trace that call and to apprehend those dangerous killers. And if you won't,
I will connect you with the chip operator.
please. Oh dear.
This is the chief operator.
Chief operator, I want you to trace a call, a telephone call, immediately. I don't know where it came from or who was making it, but it's absolutely necessary that it be tracked down, because it was about a murder that someone is planning. A terrible, cold-blooded murder of a poor innocent woman tonight at 11:15.
I see.
Well, can you trace it for me? Can you track down those men?
I'm not certain. It depends.
Depends on what?
It depends on whether the call is still going on. If it's a live call, we can trace it on the equipment. If it's been disconnected, we can't.
Disconnected?
If the parties have stopped talking to each other,
Oh, but of course, they must have stopped talking to each other by now. That was at least 5 minutes ago, and they didn't sound like the type who would make a long call.
well, I can try tracing it. May I have your name, please?
Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Albert Stevenson. But
And your
listen,
telephone number, please?
Plaza 42295. But if you go on wasting all this time,
Why do you want this call traced, please?
what? Well, no reason. I mean, I really felt very strongly, and that's something ought to be done about it. These men sounded like killers. They're dangerous. They're going to murder this woman at 11:15 tonight, and I thought the police ought to know.
Have you reported this to the police?
Well, no. Not yet.
You want this call checked purely as private individual.
Yes. But
I'm
meanwhile,
sorry, Mrs. Stevenson, but I'm afraid we couldn't make this check for you and trace the call just in your say-so. As a private individual, we'd have to have something more official.
oh, for heaven's sake. You mean to tell me I can't report that there's gonna be a murder without getting tied up in all this red tape? Why? It's perfectly idiotic. Well, alright. I'll call the police.
Thank you. I'm sure that would be the best way to...
Ridiculous. Perfectly ridiculous. The thought of it. I can see why I have to go to all this trouble. Oh,
Your call, please.
the police department. Get me the police department, please.
Thank you. Ringing the police department.
Oh dear. Do you have to dial? Can't you ring them direct?
Police Station, Precinct 43. Sergeant Martin speaking.
Police department? This is Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Smith Stevenson of 53 North Sutton Place. I'm calling up to report a murder. I mean, the murder hasn't been committed yet, but I just overheard plans for it over the telephone, over a wrong number that the operator gave me. I've been trying to trace down the call myself, but everybody's so stupid, and I guess in the end, you're the only people who can do anything.
Yes, ma'am.
It was a perfectly definite murder. I heard her plans distinctly. Two men were talking and they were going to murder some woman at 11:15 tonight. She lived in a house near a bridge. Are you listening to me?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And there was a private patrolman on the street. He was going to go around for a beer on 2nd Avenue, and there was some third man, a client, who was paying to have this poor woman murdered. They were going to take her rings and bracelet and use a knife. Well, it's unnerved me dreadfully. And I'm not well, and I feel so nervous.
I see. When was all this, ma'am?
About 8 minutes ago. Then can you do something? You do understand.
What is your name, ma'am?
Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Albert Stevenson.
And your address?
53 North Sutton Place. 53 North Sutton Place. That's near a bridge. The Queensborough Bridge. You know, and we have a private patrolman on our street. And 2nd Avenue.
And what was that number you were calling?
Murray Hill 7093. But that wasn't the number I overheard. I mean, Murray Hill 7093 is my husband's office. He's working late tonight and I was trying to reach him to ask him to come home. I'm an invalid, you know, and it's the maid's night off and I hate to be alone. Even though he says I'm perfectly safe as long as I have the telephone right beside my bed.
Well, we'll look into it, Mrs. Stevenson, and see if we can check it with the telephone company.
But the telephone company said they couldn't check the call if the parties had stopped talking. I've already taken care of that.
Oh, you have?
Yes. And personally, I feel you ought to do something far more immediate and drastic than just check the call. What good does checking the call do if they've stopped talking? By the time you track it down, they'll already have committed the murder.
Well, we'll take care of it. Don't you worry.
Well, I'd say the whole thing calls for a search. A complete and thorough search of the whole city. Now, I'm very near the bridge and I'm not far from 2nd Avenue. And I know I'd feel a whole lot better if you sent around a radio car to this neighborhood at once.
And what makes you think the murder's going to be committed in your neighborhood, Mom?
Well, I don't know. Only the coincidence is so horrible. 2nd Avenue, the patrolman, the bridge.
2nd Avenue is a very long street, Mom. And you know how many bridges there are in the city of New York alone.
Yes, I know.
Not to mention Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, and the Bronx.
I know that.
How do you know? There isn't some little house on Staten Island, on some little 2nd Avenue you've never even heard about. How do you know they're even talking about New York at all?
But I heard a call on the New York dialing system.
Maybe it was a long distance call you overheard.
Oh, don't.
Telephones are funny things. Look, lady, why don't you look at it this way? Supposing you hadn't broken in on that telephone call. Supposing you'd got your husband the way you always do. You wouldn't be so upset, would you?
Well, no, I suppose not. Only it sounded so inhuman, so cold-blooded.
A lot of murders are plotted in this city every day, Mom. We managed to prevent almost all of them.
But
a clue of this kind is so vague. It isn't much more use to us than no clue at all.
surely,
Unless, of course, you have some reason for thinking this call was phony and that someone may be planning to murder you.
me? Oh, no. I hardly think so. I mean, why should anybody? I'm alone all day and night. I see nobody except my maid Eloise, and she's a big girl. She weighs 200 pounds. She's too lazy to bring up my breakfast tray, and the only other person is my husband, Albert. He's crazy about me. He just adores me. He waits on me hand and foot. He scarcely left my side since I took sick. Well, 12 years ago.
Well, then, there's nothing for you to worry about. Now, if you'll just leave the rest of this to us, we'll take care of it.
But what will you do? It's so late. It's nearly 11 now.
We'll take care of it, lady.
Will you broadcast it all over the city? And send out squads? And warn your radio cars to watch out? Especially in suspicious neighborhoods like mine.
Lady, I said we'd take care of it. Just now, I've got a couple of other matters here on my desk that require immediate attention. Good night, ma'am, and thank you.
Idiot. Oh, no. Why did I hang up the phone like that? He'll think I am a fool. Oh. Why doesn't Albert come home? Why doesn't he? Why doesn't he come home?
Your call, please.
Operator, for heaven's sake, will you ring that Muriel Hill 70093 number again? I can't think what's keeping him so long.
I will try it for you.
Well, try. I don't see why he doesn't answer it.
I'm sorry. Muriel Hill 70093 is busy.
I can hear it. You don't have to tell me. I know it's busy. If I could only get out of this bed for a little while. If I could get a breath of fresh air. Just lean out the window and see the street. Hello? Albert? Hello? Oh, what's the matter with this phone? Hello? Oh, for heaven's sake, who is this? Hello? Oh, who's trying to call me? Why doesn't she answer?
You call, please.
Hello? Operator, I don't know what's the matter with this telephone tonight, but it's positively driving me crazy. I've never seen such an efficient, miserable service. Now, look, I'm an invalid, and I'm very nervous, and I'm not supposed to be annoyed. But if this keeps on much longer,
What seems to be trouble, please?
well, everything's wrong. I haven't had one bit of satisfaction out of one call I've made this evening. The whole world could be murdered for all you people care. And now, my phone keeps ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing every 5 seconds, and when I pick it up, there's no one there.
I'm sorry. If you will hang up, I will test it for you.
I don't want you to test it for me. I want you to put that call through, whatever it is, at once.
I am afraid I cannot do that.
You can't? And why? Why, may I ask?
The dial system is automatic. If someone is trying to dial your number, there is no way to check it if the calling is coming through the system or not, unless the person who's trying to reach you complains to his particular operator.
Well, of all the stupid. And meanwhile, I've got to sit here in my bed, suffering every time that phone rings, imagining everything.
I will try to check the trouble for you.
Check it. That's all anybody can do. Oh, what's the use of talking to you? You're so stupid. Oh, stop it. I can't stand anymore. Hello? What do you want? Stop ringing, will you? Stop it.
Hello, is this Plaza 42295?
Yes. I'm sorry. This is Plaza 42295.
This is Mr. Miguel. I have a telegram here for Mrs. Albert Stevenson. Is there anyone nice to receive the message?
I'm Mrs. Stevenson.
The telegram is as follows. Mrs. Albert Stevenson, 33 North Southern Place, New York, Jarvis. Terribly sorry. Try to get you for last hour. The line busy. Leaving for Boston 11 p.m. tonight on urgent business. Back tomorrow afternoon. Keep happy. Love, Time Albert.
Oh no.
information. May I help you?
I want the telephone number of Henchley Hospital.
Hensley Hospital? Do you have the street address?
No. It's somewhere in the 70s. It's a very small, private, and exclusive hospital where I had my appendix out 2 years ago. Henchley. H-E-N-C.
One moment, please. The number of Hensley Hospital is Butterfield 70105.
Butterfield 70105.
Hensley Hospital, good evening.
Nurses Registry.
Who was it you wished to speak to, please?
I want the nurses registry at once. I want a trained nurse. I want to hire her immediately for the night.
Registered nurses are very scarce just now, and our superintendent has asked us to send people out only on cases where the physician in charge feels that it is absolutely necessary.
Your call, please.
Operator, I'm in desperate trouble.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. Please speak louder.